Welcome to our home, the Earth. Landing in Australia, in the famous harbour city of Sydney. Flying inland to our capital, Canberra. And zooming to where our story begins, the Science Museum Questacon. The centre attracts people from all walks of life and from all countries who come to enjoy and understand science. When the museum opened in 1988, I volunteered to explain some of the exhibits. In the crowd, there was someone always pushing me to find a deeper explanation. But it was the people who were translating what I said into their own language who asked the deepest questions. Depending on the concept I meant by a word, they would translate it into a completely different word in their own language. VisuWords is a web app which lets us visualize just some of the mental gymnastics these people were going through. When you type the term that you are interested in into the application browser, it arrays all the different meanings around the central word. Each meaning has a force field around it which attracts it to the central concept but repels it from other meanings. You can drag meanings around and reposition them like a flower arrangement. You can probe meanings to find the one scientific idea amongst the many non-scientific uses. All these different meanings evolved over hundreds of years as different people retooled an original word for different purposes. The ancient Greeks came up with the concept of matter but didn't have a word for it, so they just called it wood. As the Greeks began to fade, Rome rose to power. Their language was very compact and they could change the meaning of a word by selecting different endings. They had developed 5 standardized ending patterns known as declensions. If you wanted to refer to someone's mother, you would use the third declension. If you wanted to refer to what is inside an object, you'd use the 5th declension of the word matter. Back in the day when Newton was first explaining his laws, the endings of Latin words was a big deal. That's because all of science was written in just one language, Latin. Newton broke new ground by including a new mathematical language of calculus. Fortunately, his books were more successful than his lectures. They were so boring that everyone left and he talked to an empty theatre. Newton was also a great inventor, inventing such things as the Newtonian telescope. He didn't invent Newton's cradle, which you can see here, but he did invent a door for cats. With Newton, there are just so many firsts, it's often hard to dig deeper and find the really seed ideas. Earlier we covered matter, but mass is fundamentally different. Newton took vague notions of mass and weaved in solid mathematics to make a robust scientific term. What had been a term for bread dough or a donkey's burden has been rebirthed as a new scientific term which had precise meaning. It's not until you dig a little bit deeper and look under the hood of Newton's thinking that you turn up a big surprise. Although Newton gave us the maths that put man on the moon, he actually believed God was doing everything and you didn't have to understand anything beyond his maths. For some, this end point is a great comfort. For others, it is not an end point, but the beginning of a new journey.